Hello and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to explore a deep and transformative concept. What is strength in Buddhism? When we think of strength, we often imagine something physical, like big muscles or the ability to dominate others. But in Buddhism, true strength is much more about inner strength, the strength that comes from the mind, from the ability to live wisely, compassionately, and in balance. Did you know that in Buddhism, strength is not measured by how much weight you can lift, but by your ability to face suffering and cultivate peace in the midst of life's challenges? This might seem counterintuitive, but throughout this video, you'll understand more about why this perspective is so powerful. Let's dive in. Inner and mental strength. Let's start by talking about inner strength. In Buddhism, the mind is seen as the key to our experience of life. Our perception of reality, our responses to challenges, and even our suffering are all deeply connected to our minds. Instead of trying to control the external world, Buddhism teaches us to control the mind. This helps us maintain a calm attitude, even in the face of adversity. But how do we develop this mental strength? The answer lies in practices like meditation and self-awareness. For instance, when we meditate, we begin to observe our thoughts and emotions without identifying with them. If something negative arises, instead of reacting immediately with anger or frustration, we learn to view that emotion from a more detached perspective, understanding it as a temporary phenomenon. This mindfulness is a true form of strength. Have you ever caught yourself in a moment of anger or frustration, and upon reflecting, realized that if you had acted differently, you could have avoided many complications? Well, Buddhism teaches us that mind control is key. Strength in this sense is not about repressing or ignoring emotions, but about dealing with them wisely and consciously. Strength to face suffering. Now let's talk about a central concept in Buddhism: suffering. In Buddhism, suffering is seen as an inevitable part of human existence. The famous First Noble Truth states that life is suffering. At first, this might sound a bit discouraging, but Buddhism is not about having a pessimistic view of life. On the contrary, it's a realistic view that prepares us to deal with the ups and downs of life with greater serenity. So what does strength have to do with suffering? For Buddhism, true strength doesn't lie in avoiding pain, but in learning how to deal with it in a healthy and wise way. When we face suffering, our tendency is to react with aversion or denial, as if we could avoid pain at all costs. However, Buddhist practice teaches us that by accepting suffering and understanding its causes, we can begin to transform the way we respond to it. For example, when we go through a loss, a frustration, or a difficult situation, we can accept the pain without attaching to it. This doesn't mean being insensitive, but rather not allowing suffering to control our lives. This conscious acceptance, without judgment, is a form of strength. The middle way and discipline. One of the most important qualities in Buddhism, and one that's closely linked to strength, is the concept of the middle way. This refers to the pursuit of balance, avoiding extremes. It's not about avoiding pain, but about not losing ourselves in it. It's not about seeking pleasure all the time, but about living with more harmony and balance. Here, discipline plays a central role. In Buddhism, discipline is not an externally imposed force, but a daily practice that helps cultivate inner peace. Mental discipline is what allows us to stay clear-headed in the midst of chaos and balanced in the face of intense emotions. This discipline doesn't come from external pressure, but from an inner desire to seek freedom from suffering and the development of wisdom. And believe me, it's not an easy task, but over time, this practice brings immense inner strength, helping us deal with any difficulty. Compassion and wisdom as strengths now. Let's discuss two of the greatest sources of strength in Buddhism: compassion and wisdom. Compassion is a powerful force that connects us to others in a deep way. In Buddhism, being strong doesn't mean being selfish or indifferent. True strength lies in being able to face your own struggles while still offering help to others. The compassionate strength is the one that allows us to act kindly, even when we're going through tough times. On the other hand, wisdom is another essential aspect. True wisdom isn't something we can only learn from books or intellectually. It's something that arises from direct experience with reality. By cultivating wisdom, we develop the ability to act with discernment, knowing when to act, when to wait, and how to respond in a way that reduces suffering, both for ourselves and others. Think about it for a mom.